Wow. Want to hear something crazy?
I love crazy.
We are currently in the 19th year of the Super Smash Bros. Series. All the memories. Remember that day you first inserted the original Super Smash Bros. Into your Nintendo 64? Or what about when you finally unlocked Final Destination in Melee? Or even when you beat Master and Crazy Hand? Oh yeah. And when you finally beat the Subspace Emissary in Brawl and unlocked every fighter and stage? And how cool it was to see that we could finally play Smash online in Smash 4 for the Wii U. And also finally being able to play Smash on a handheld console with Smash 4 for the 3DS. And of course, we all remember where we were when we watched the Nintendo Direct from earlier this year, in which the next chapter in the Super Smash Bros. Saga was officially announced through the silhouettes of two of Nintendo's most iconic characters, Link and Mario. Smash is a series that has always brought together siblings, friends, and even people from completely different backgrounds to duke it out through the game in online tournaments as well as in-person tournaments, in places from Los Angeles to Tokyo. Since this game is such a big part of the gaming community, we are bringing you this new episode on our Game Domain Doc series, which we are calling Select Your Fighter, a Game Domain Doc. So, let's get into the conception of this series and learn some more about this incredible franchise. During the year of 1998, Nintendo tasked the game developer HAL Laboratory, a first-party Nintendo developer who are the masterminds behind the Kirby series, to create the ultimate fighting game to be released on Nintendo 64. The game was originally supposed to house no Nintendo characters and just be another fighting game that would grow popular on the Nintendo 64. Masahiro Sakurai then felt that the game should include Nintendo characters in order to make it feel like a Nintendo game, and thus, arguably, the greatest fighting game franchise ever conceived was born. The game then took on the title of Super Smash Bros., and the original game would house 8 fighters and 4 unlockable characters as well. These original 8 are now revered by fans of the series, and these 8 are all arguably the faces of their respective franchises. The original 8 include Mario, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Link, Samus, Kirby, Fox, and Pikachu. The unlockables include Ness, Captain Falcon, Luigi, and Jigglypuff. Everybody began to start maining their favorite fighter, and thus the competitiveness of the great series we have come to love was born. So, now that you have a little more background knowledge on the franchise as a whole, let's get into each one of the games and how the series has evolved over the years. Way back on January 21st, 1999, Japan was gifted the original game of the Super Smash Bros. Series. This game blended together the franchises of Mario, The Legend of Zelda, Star Fox, Donkey Kong, Metroid, Mother, F-Zero, Yoshi, Kirby, and Pokemon, in what resulted in the greatest crossover of all time. Yes, Infinity War, you are in no way, shape, or form better than Super Smash Bros. The book is already closed on that one. Looking back on this game now, nobody would ever really go back and play this title. The graphics and funky gameplay are completely outdated, and the only reason people play this game is for nostalgic reasons, because any of the other 3 games in this series are suitable except this one. Super Smash Bros. Sold 5 million copies worldwide by the year 2001, with almost 1 million more copies being sold in the United States than in Japan. This game redid the typical fighting game formula of defeating somebody by depleting their health bar. This game gives us the unique aspect of adding damage points to a player every hit, and the higher the damage points, the more susceptible they are to being knocked off the map to KO the opponent. This formula was widely criticized in the beginning, but as everybody knows, this would be one of the greatest decisions Nintendo could have implemented for the game. Up to 4 people can play in multiplayer Smash battles, and you can set the rules to many different combinations to make each match feel different and unique in itself. As we said before, this game introduced us to 12 total fighters. with 8 being starter fighters and the other 4 being unlockable fighters. The game was rated harshly when it was originally released, receiving just a 79 rating from Metacritic and a 79 rating from GameRankings as well. This game is probably the most forgotten and least played game of the series at the present time, but that shouldn't take away from the fact that this game spawned 4 sequels, and one of which is widely considered to be one of the greatest games of all time. And the other 2 are pretty good in their own right. This game is a nostalgic one for most, and the franchise has certainly built on the great features this game laid out and made it just better and better. While Nintendo was engineering the great Nintendo GameCube, they also tapped on the shoulders of HAL Labs again to develop a much more improved version of Super Smash Bros. For the brand new console. Masahiro Sakurai took the title as head developer of the game and wanted to make an initial splash on the Nintendo GameCube with this brand new Super Smash Bros. Game. They wanted to make an opening clip to show the true power that the GameCube can exert. And this would of course become one of the most beloved game intros of all time. The figures coming to life showed that Nintendo put all the effort they had into the GameCube, and Super Smash Bros. Melee as well. Sakurai says that he worked endlessly on this game for 13 straight months, taking no breaks for even holidays and shortening his weekend, all in an effort to make this game the greatest he could. And obviously we all know that he did make the greatest game he could. Sakurai welcomed the pressure of making a sequel better than the original, and boy did it pay off in the end. All of this hard work led to Nintendo presenting the game at E3 2001 as a playable demo for fans to enjoy. Approaching the release of the game, Sakurai released weekly screenshots and gameplay clips of the game, all leading up to the epic launch of the Nintendo GameCube and Super Smash Bros. Melee. Melee was released to the public on November 21st, 2001 in Japan and December 3rd in North America. The game proved to be one of the most beloved and successful games in Nintendo's history, and it even found its way onto our top 10 greatest Nintendo games of all time at the number 9 spot. Melee followed the same basic gameplay principles as the original Super Smash Bros., but introduced a ton of new fighters, stages, modes, and of course, drastically improved the gameplay functionalities, including gameplay speed and of course, glorifying the graphics using the power of the new Nintendo GameCube engine. The trophy collection system was introduced in this game, in which various Nintendo characters and famous objects could be collected in the form of trophies throughout the game by completing various challenges in the single and multiplayer Melee game modes. Melee also doubles the original playable roster of fighters, as it totals 25 and 26 if you count Sheik and Zelda as 2 separate fighters. Melee's large roster of fighters and fast-paced gameplay mixes together for a great time with family, friends, and this game's popularity and love has lasted all the way till 2018. And we're fairly confident that even Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Switch won't be able to kill off the popularity of this great classic. Melee is probably one of the only, if not the only, GameCube game that is still played competitively. Melee tournaments are run all over the US and even in Japan, truly showing that this game and series are gaming relics. Melee is the most critically acclaimed Smash game, as it received a 92 from Metacritic and a 9.6 out of 10 from IGN. After almost exactly 7 years of Melee's dominant reign, Nintendo and HAL Labs would team up yet again for another addition to the series, which would be released for Nintendo's new state-of-the-art console. After the release of the Nintendo Wii, fans fell in love with the motion control feature and wondered how it would influence old franchises that they love. And Nintendo was wondering this as well. And they tried to do this with the Smash series with Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Wii in 2008. We say tried because everybody just uses the GameCube controller anyway, so what's the point of motion controls? The GameCube controller is the optimum way of playing Smash, and the fans were delighted at the fact that they could use it to play Smash Bros. Brawl on the Wii. The first word that we received about Brawl is at E3 in 2005, where Nintendo announced that the series' next title was currently in development to be released on their next console over the next 2 E3 conferences. Nintendo would officially announce the title as Super Smash Bros. Brawl, as well as the release date of December 2007 in North America. They then pushed back the release date of the game due to technological leaps that they had to make on the Wii. As they did with Melee, Sakurai released weekly updates on the progress of the game and included screenshots and gameplay clips as well. all of this hype finally ended with the release of the game on January 31st, 2008 in Japan, followed shortly after by a March 9th, 2008 release in North America. Brawl introduced a very flawed online server, which would be perfected for Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, as well as an incredible adventure story mode. The Subspace Emissary features unique storylines and a ton of levels to defeat that bring all of the characters of the greatest crossover in history together in a great campaign. One of the game's biggest criticisms is that the gameplay and fighting is too slow-paced, and that Brawl failed to replicate the fast-paced and intense battling style that made Melee so beloved. This criticism is valid though, as the game was never as popular as Melee due to this issue. The game was widely received very well, as it received a 9.5 from IGN and a 93 rating from Metacritic. The flaws that Brawl had that differed it from the popularity that Melee achieved would later be fixed in the next installment, which we will talk about next. At E3 back in 2011, Nintendo announced that it would be starting to develop the next installment of the Super Smash Bros. Franchise, and that it would be released for the company's two brand new devices, the handheld Nintendo 3DS and the in-home console, the Wii U. Both sequels to their previous consoles, the Nintendo DS and the Wii respectively. Sakurai would also state that the game would not be developed by the great HAL Labs, and instead he would partner up with the developers Bandai Namco Studios and Sora LDT. A few years later at E3 2013, Sakurai officially revealed the game in a Nintendo Direct, and started up the old tradition of updates and screenshots and gameplay of the game on the internet, only this time it was every weekday. Sakurai also told fans that the game's playstyle would be sort of a happy medium between the fast-paced style of Melee and the slow, casual gameplay present in Brawl. As it got closer to release, it became public that the hardware limits on the 3DS would alter the version a lot from the Wii U, making the 3DS version obsolete to the in-home console version. And after years of waiting, Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U and 3DS finally released to fans on September 13th, 2014 in Japan, and October 3rd in North America. Smash 4 brought to us the biggest roster of fighters and stages in the history of the series, and its drastic improvement on graphics would blend with a medium-paced fighting style that fans began to fall in love with. The Amiibo and Mii features were also added into this installment, as you could now connect your Super Smash Bros. Amiibo to the game itself for cool in-game perks and assists, as well as being able to play as one of the Mii fighters. These were clever gimmick additions into the game, but fans quickly welcomed these ideas with open arms into the Super Smash Bros. Franchise. 17 new playable fighters were introduced to the series through this title, ranging from franchises like the Villager from Animal Crossing, and even Pac-Man, who's not a Nintendo character. Just another reason to call the Smash series the greatest crossover in history. Paid downloadable content, or paid DLC for short, was also introduced through this title. And the big character that made people put down the money was Mewtwo. Mewtwo is arguably one of the most popular Pokemon of all time, and his debut in Melee was quickly shadowed over by his absence in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U is still being played crazily up until this very moment, but that'll all change in just a few weeks when we are finally gifted with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Nintendo Switch. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was teased with a short clip at the March 8th, 2018 Nintendo Direct under the working title Super Smash Bros. As time went on, we have received more and more information about this game, and three main features that we will talk about in this video right now. Sakurai has brought back and showcased every single fighter in the franchise being available to play in this game, and has added several new fighters as well. These new fighters include Inkling from Splatoon, Ridley from the Metroid series, Simon from Castlevania, King K. Rool from Donkey Kong, and finally Isabelle from the Animal Crossing series. This game is also showcasing over 100 stages and over 800 tracks from all of the company's most beloved games. We have many videos up on our channel about this game, and we'll have a lot more to come. So for more Smash Ultimate content, go check out those videos. And oh yeah, everyone is here. The Super Smash Bros. Series has evolved into one of the most competitively played games in recent memory. And there are tournaments held all throughout the United States and even places around the world. These tournaments range from incredibly competitive Smash tournaments at conferences like E3 to even just a local tournament at a church, school, or even library. The very first big competitive Melee tournament was held in early 2002, when Melee's popularity was at its peak. Melee even found itself on the Major League Gaming, or MLG, tournament roster for 3 years, from 2004 to 2007. Since that time, Brawl and Melee tournaments have been held roughly every year at MLG conferences and events. And the last few years, just Melee has been showcased. The competitive scene is about to blow up even more come December 7th, when Ultimate is supposed to hit the shelves and grow the Nintendo Switch Online service with its online capabilities. There are also Ultimate tournaments already scheduled for after the game's release, and even big gaming conferences that are 9 months away. The Super Smash Bros. Series has always been Nintendo's most competitive, and the release of Ultimate will ensure that for years to come. Super Smash Bros. Has built one of the largest fan bases of any gaming franchise of all time, and its millions of followers go crazy for anything Smash related. There aren't many other gaming franchises that have their second game that is almost 20 years old still being played competitively. And the hype that is built around Ultimate is like none other. These fans create the greatness of these games, and their incredible passion and love for these games and everything that has Smash on it is just truly remarkable. Nintendo's fanbase has always been known to be crazy, but the craze for this series is special. This is also, of course, a great marketing tool for Nintendo, as over the years, they have been able to sell all these millions of copies of Smash games, as well as amiibos, action figures, and even just consoles due to the fans just wanting to be able to play one of these 4 fantastic games. Many people bought a GameCube just to play Melee. And then of course, they would begin to realize that the GameCube is arguably one of the best consoles of all time. This is the same case for amiibos, as they really began to gain popularity around the release of Smash 4. People began to buy amiibos just for the Smash in-game gimmicks, and then they would begin to do the same for a ton of other games as well. And the best part is, the fandom will only get crazier as we get closer and closer to the release of Ultimate, and we can't even imagine what it's going to be like when the game hits the shelves. So, we've talked about basically everything that this great franchise has brought us hardcore fans. And we have to give one huge thanks to the legendary Masahiro Sakurai for using his masterful mind to put together the greatest crossover of all time, and one of the most beloved Nintendo franchises ever. This franchise has given us an uncountable amount of memories, late-night tournaments, family brawls, and in the end, incredible fun. We will still go back and plug in our GameCubes and slip in Melee for a fun time. And maybe even go back and replay our favorite moments from Subspace Emissary. And of course, we all play a few online matches in Smash 4 once in a while, as well as popping in the original game for strictly nostalgic purposes. A series that was criticized at first and was destined to be unsuccessful turned all the critics on their heads and has brought itself into millions of hearts. And oh yeah, it's not leaving any of our hearts anytime soon either. So, what did you think of this Game Domain doc? Is the Super Smash Bros. Series just as big a part of your gaming life as it is ours? What do you want our next Game Domain doc to be about? Tell us in the comments below, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And be sure to check out some of our more recent videos, which we will leave links for in the description, as well as our Discord and new info regarding our new channel updates. Our Discord is open to you guys to come and chat with our staff members and each other about gaming, so don't be afraid to join. We also encourage you guys to download Cash for Apps using our link in the description. Cash for Apps is an app that allows you to get points for just downloading apps on your phone, and you don't even need to keep the apps. You can save up the points to use for gift cards for various online stores, and some of the gift cards can even be used to purchase V-Bucks for Fortnite. Stay tuned to Game Domain for more great videos and more documentaries like this one. Don't forget to check out our Pokemon documentary, as well as our video ranking the Zelda games, and the video ranking the Pokemon games. Thanks for watching, and this has been Select Your Fighter, a Game Domain doc.